So now we'll start creating the actual project, and this is done by this command mpx create react tutorial minus template TypeScript. So this will create the TypeScript project called tutorial in this folder. I will not run it because it will take too much time, so I've actually already run it. So if we go into the project here, this is where the project is. So I will just start Visual Studio Code to show you the actual project. And here we are. So this is the project here. I will just run npm start here to show you how it looks. It's a very simple project. See the normal React test application. So here we are. Then we will start adding some stuff to this. So the first thing we will do is actually to ensure that we can run this using the debugger in Visual Studio Code. So we will just go to run here and create a launch JSON file. We will select Chrome and just replace the 8080 with 3000, which is the IP number, the port number on this project. And by doing that, we can just press F5 and we will actually start the project here and be able to debug and so forth. So stop that for now. But now we have created that Visual Studio Code launch file here. So now to be able to have import links that aren't relative, we will just go into tsconfig JSON file here and add two parts. First, the base URL. So by adding this, we can have imports that are relative to the source folder instead of the actual file itself. So you don't have to have // something something. We can just have the imports relative to the source folder instead. And we add experiment decorators because we're going to annotate the code later on with MobX, and then we need to have this set to true. So these are the only changes we need in the tsconfig file. And then we actually need to install all our dependencies. And actually I will just add a new command file. I will not, I've already installed these, as you see in the package.json here, but I will show you which are. So they're MobX React to be able to have the state management. React router DOM and history for having the React router and also the history parts. And then the material UI, because we're going to use the material UI visualization library here. So the styles, the core, the icons, and the pickers, and the perfect scrolling, React perfect scroll bar. So these are for the UI parts, and then Axios to be able to do the REST call. So when you have run that command, which I will not do here, then you have installed all the normal dependencies, and then we also need to do this as well to because we're going to need to have the types library for React router DOM. So in npm install -d because this is a dev dependencies, and this types React router DOM. So when you have done that, you have a package.json file with all these parts, and that all the dependencies that you need to have. But then we also just want to move some parts here, because the React app project, when that is created, it is created with all these testing library and types in the dependencies. We will just move them so they are in the dev dependencies instead, because they actually are not needed in runtime, when we're actually compiling. So we move them here. So now we have everything up and running in a good way. So now we need to create the main. So we have the app file, but now we need to create the main test page. So we'll just first folder called views, and then we will create a new folder called main, and here we will actually create a folder main view.tsx. So, and here we create a main view. React component, and from now I'm going to have a main here, and we will just import React as well. Here we go. And we will just have the normal component did mount, and component will unmount, and then also the render function, which should return something. And we actually will just return what's actually in the app right now, because we will replace it with something, the app part with something else later on. So we will just take the same parts here that we have in the main view, and we will just import the correct things as well. So we need to import the logo. So here we go. So now we have our main function class, but of course we actually we also need actually one more thing, and that is the constructor. So we will just add a constructor here as well. So call it super function here. But we would, I mean, we want to have type support for this and everything, so it's not really nice to have any as a property in here. We would like to have the actual things that we so we know what we get in. And let me see, we should just first export. So we export something. So we would like to have something that we can have here as a type instead of this first n here. So what we will actually do is to go into source here, create a new folder here called common, and then we will create props.ts. Of course, we would like to have something to import that actually describes what we are going to use here. So we will first do some imports, and then we will actually create an app props that we can use later on to inject here. So this is what actually will be received by the views when we send the props. So we will have a theme from Material UI. We will have classes, it can be anything actually, in the history from React DOM, history and location, and also the match from React DOM. So we actually would like to have this one here instead, to say that this is the props we're going to receive. but then of course we need to import it. So here we can just do like this, because we had the set source as the route, so we don't have to make this relative to this specific file, so we can have common, which is under source, and our props here. So now we have created a main page. We actually know, so in here we can actually say that here props something, and we get them directly. Of course we have types, which is really nice. Usually we want to use them, I mean, the props file will be set into the parent later on here, so you can use them, but if we want to have the types part here, we can actually create the this, and we can say that this props. So now later on, if we want to use the props and have the type support for it, we can use them here as well. But now we have that one, and now we actually would like to change the app here to not show this directly, but we want to have add the support for the router and all those parts. So we will start first by adding some imports that we need. We need to have this one. We need to have this one. And we also need to have, so we add the router here. So we replace all these parts, which we're not going to show because we want to have some router support. And we are going to have a router. But for the router to work, we need to have some file defining the routes itself, right? So here we just said we use the router, and we have the history. Here we go. But we also then need a routes file. So we'll start by creating a new folder here, routes, and we will create in here a new file, JS actually. Of course, due to some complexities, this is actually easier to have as a normal functional block than class. So we will create this one here, and return something, obviously. And here we would like to have switch. Let's add the things we need here from so we will start with having a switch, and then we will have we will actually first have a redirect, and we would like to have this exact from equals the route, because if we go to this one, we would like to go to actually we would like to go to the what we would call dashboard, which is the main maybe. Oops, sorry. I can do it like this. So first we will just add a redirect. So if we go into the route, we will go to the main page. So it's, which we then obviously need to define. So here we actually start doing a route. And to do that we need component. It should be the component we want to use, and here we obviously need to import that. So import from view use we have slash main view from views main view, right? So this is the component we would like to have here. View. And we would like to have this if we go to the exact path, which should be then main. So if we go to the main page, or then we will open the main view. Good. So here we have our routes, and obviously we will need to export them. So export default routes. So we export the routes. So good. And we will obviously also need to import them. Routes. So here we go. See here, we will need to import the React code here for routes as well, and just change so we go to the correct logo here. So now we should be able to test well. So try here. Yeah, everything seems to be working. Good. So now we then have added the router support here. Let's format this. Alt-Shift-F here. So now we have the routes going to our initial view here on this page. And we have in the view we have also added, so we have nice typing for our properties that we receive. So I think this is the first part for the main app. The next part we will look in a little bit into adding private routes in the next video.